today, which I am so thrilled. This lady knows her stuff with email marketing. And yes, she's always blowing my mind when I'm reading her posts. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. I mean, I don't consider myself by any means an email expert, so I'm learning so much. Real quick for everybody, if anybody is here listening to us, go ahead and drop a comment. Tell us where you're listening from so that we know. I mean, we can talk to each other and have a great time, but we'd like to talk to you as well. And we're going to dive right in here. Yuval, the Miss Ethical email marketing strategist, which is one thing I love because I don't see too many people doing email strategies the way you do it. But you help big corporate companies and brands and personal brands get to know their subscribers. I cannot talk all of a sudden. Get emails in easier. And of course, we're going to be talking about your travel life and pasta and all of this stuff. Would you say hi to everybody and tell us a little bit more?
Hmm. Where do I start? Honestly, where do you want me to start?
Well, just tell everybody hello and just a little bit real quick, and then we're really going to dive in because I got some questions.
Oh, yes. And I've prepared some things to share with you. I don't know if I'll be able to share my screen later, but yeah. Anyhow, I'm Yuval. I am an ethical email strategist and consultant. Hi, Corey. Nice to see you. And
Yes.
also a digital nomad full time now. Hi, Blair. Um, I'm distracted. I'm just seeing so many great people in the chat already. So
Right? I know it is. Sometimes we get distracted by the comments, but tell everybody, I mean, you're in Vietnam right now.
I am
So
in
how's that
Vietnam right
going?
now. It's been challenging, surprisingly. I've been here before as a backpacker 9 years ago. Vietnam is lovely. The food is fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, but people in Vietnam in general are morning people. I am a night person.
Oh,
That doesn't necessarily go well together. And also, if you're on my list, you probably have heard my stories about my very loud neighbors, loud and noisy, loudy neighbors, and about Vietnamese grief routines, which is something that I learned all about 2 weeks ago. And yeah, I think they're uh, with. I love Vietnamese people. Don't get me wrong, but I am way too sensitive to noises compared to them. Like us Westerners are way more sensitive to noises than what they perceive as noise. So if you think that you know a random karaoke party at noon is acceptable, then you'll have a lot of fun here.
awesome. I mean, I'm sorry. I have been reading your emails on the grief thing. I didn't know that, so I'm learning through you because I haven't been to Vietnam yet. So that's definitely learning something about another country I haven't been to. I mean, it is fascinating when we travel like this to learn these different ways of living and stuff that you didn't know. I mean, it was like Morocco. We spent 3 months there, and getting used to the prayer call 3 times a day was something to get used to, because we're not used, like you said. I mean, church bells on Sunday, yeah, but not call to prayer 3 times a day. So it was an interesting and very unique experience that we did get used to it though after 3 months.
I mean, I don't think I'll ever get used to karaoke any time of the day when it's just out there. But I do love karaoke when I go with my friends, just not out in the street, in someone's
Yeah,
yard.
I know it's not as much. It's so funny. My husband always calls it karaoke, so I'm always laughing. So when you were saying that, it just brought that back to mind. Well, let's dive into what everybody's actually here for, which is to find out all about more about email, which we know you know a lot about. And so I really want to dig in and share some of that. And that for me, that's one of the big part of the marketing strategies. I want people to use it because I know, guys, I'm social media marketing strategist, and I'm actually wanting to get you off of social media. believe that. Anyway, but that's also why I asked Yuval here today, because she's got these fascinating, and I mean fascinating, because I was watching. Oh, I can't remember which one now, but I was watching the video where that you guys were showing one of the back ends of one of the email marketing strategies you did for someone, and it was like it just kept going and going, and I'm like, mine doesn't even look remotely like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's letting me know how much more can be done and could be done, and to not be spammy and stuff like that. So I'm really fascinated to find out more for everybody else. And like, if anyone else has come on, drop in the comments where you are. We've got Corey and Lee, Blair. We're so happy to have you all here, and hope you're excited to find out more about emails as well. And put in the comments what you're wanting to find out, because we want to know too, and we can answer those questions while we're here. Let's dive in. I want to dive right on in. Let's talk about consent, because you were just talking
Mm.
about extra noises and things like that. So let's talk about consent. That kind of brought that to mind to me. I know you think we need more of it, and
Mm-hmm.
what a difference that makes to the quality of your email list and the people appreciating what you're sending. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. I think the best way for me to explain this thoroughly would be to give an example from real life. If you don't mind me asking you a question, might be a little bit personal. Um, is it possible that there are days where you don't feel like you want your husband to kiss you because you don't feel like you're in the mood,
Of course. I mean, I don't
even
want
though
him to
you need
hear that,
to?
even though he's going to watch the replay. But of course, yeah, there's days I don't want to be messed with. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. And does it mean that, you know, that breaks off the entire marriage?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. People behave the same way inside an email list. Just because you hopefully got their consent to let them enter your world through your email list, just because they consented once to get emails from you, doesn't mean that they will always keep on this one track. In fact, people are very, very maybe even flimsy like that, and so we need to get asked throughout our journey inside our inboxes, what do you want to get? What interests you more? What interests you less? Do you want to just get maybe emails once a month? Do you want to snooze our emails for 90 days and get back when you're less overwhelmed, perhaps? Um, running a launch. Do you want to get our emails about this? Do you want to snooze out, or snooze off? Which one? Can't
Out,
remember.
off, same.
Out, off, whatever, up, down, left, right. Nothing makes sense anymore. So do you want to get our emails? If you haven't clicked on this pre-launch email that tells you we're about to launch something, you're already getting the launch emails, the sales emails. Maybe you are really interested in the product, but you don't have time to, or money, or headspace to invest in it right now. Instead of losing your subscriber, which you've worked hard on acquiring and nurturing, hopefully for some time, instead of them unsubscribing, give them options. Give them
Mhm.
options. Maybe not too many, because
Too
we want
many
to
overwhelms
avoid.
too.
Exactly, but give them options. And hopefully and luckily, I'm seeing more brands are following those footsteps, because they understand that email is a one-to-one too many conversations, and it's not a blast anymore. It's not like a one way, hey, we have something to say and you need to listen because you once subscribed. It's a conversation. It's a dialogue,
Mhm.
not a monologue.
Well, and I find that so refreshing. And because you've really brought that to my attention, I'm working to figure out how to do that with my Mailer Lite accounts too, which there's obviously I'm learning as I go, and I'm working to see how I can give more consent, because I honestly never thought about it until we were talking about that kind of stuff, and then you started posting about it. And because you kind of do get the idea they're on your list, but yes, do they want to receive this particular one, or do they want to do something else? And then there's the complications of figuring out, can your platform do it, or how can you do it, and stuff like that. So obviously that's a lot of thoughts, things we haven't. It's fresh to me because it's something I've never heard or seen, and I appreciate that idea and that thought process, because I love the conversation and I love thinking of email as a conversation. And you're right, we've been blasting the same conversation to everyone. Yes, they signed up for it originally, but do they still want it? And I love the idea that you're giving them the option to, which brings me to the one thing that you call it, pick your own adventure, in your email. And the minute you said that, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so in love with this idea. And that's what you're doing. But I do really like it because it allows people to, yeah, pick their own adventure. Do I not want to see this campaign? Maybe I'm already convinced I want to buy it and I just don't want to see all the promotional stuff. Or like you said, I'm not ready and maybe next time. But I love the idea that comes into the conversation of now is, how do we make that happen?
Hmm. Are we talking about the technical aspect of things or from the
Let's
strategic
not get
side of
too
things?
technical. Let's not get too technical because I know we can, but let's leave them to hire you for that part.
Sure. If you can find time to talk to me in the next couple of months, let's try. So, from the strategic standpoint, you want to strategize and understand what is it that you want to learn about your subscribers in the next 3 to 6 months. Usually, these are that's the term of the new strategies, and how long we're testing them for initially, at least. Once you understand what it is that you want to learn about your subscribers, how do you achieve it? In my case, in some of my clients' cases, it is about choose your own adventure. It is about um, allowing and enabling a preference center where people are just ticking off, again, not 15 kind of like check boxes when sometimes you unsubscribe and you see like a list of 20 different aspects that you are all subscribed to, or interests or products or whatever it is. Let's keep it simple initially, right? um,
Mhm.
in my case, it was choose your own adventure. I'm sending more emails now because I have way more stories to share.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things that I want to talk about these days, a lot of resources that I've created in Q1 that I want to share. So I know that some of my subscribers have signed up for an email every Friday. Great. That's the cadence that suits them. For most of my subscribers, actually, they went ahead, they checked out the form, the email preferences center, which I can show if I somehow can share the screen. And let me actually, I'll just open it in a different tab. Not this one. This one I can show later. Um,
You have
and
the controls, or do I need to? It'll be at the
I
bottom.
think I can do this.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes. So
We haven't
this.
shared screen for the first time on here. Okay, I'll let you in. There we go.
So literally, when if someone wants to go into the footer of every one of my emails, this is the form that they see, and they can choose to send me everything, which is two, sometimes rarely three emails a week. Only Friday emails about emails. That's very meta, or just the fun stuff. And then they have the option to choose either one, but also snooze my emails for 30 days. And whatever it is they're choosing, I'm happy with, right? Because by giving more people the power to choose their own adventure, let me just stop the sharing because this is important. By giving more people the power to choose their own adventure, you're strengthening the trust that is built
Mhm.
and is established between yourself and the subscriber, yourself as the brand, as the sender, and the subscriber. And you'd be surprised. it's so underutilized that people are responding so well to this, they don't even dare to unsubscribe. And if they do, it's okay, let them go
Oh yeah,
peacefully, you know.
we don't want you there if you don't want to be there, obviously.
And that's completely fine, but most people are so shocked and delighted by even given the option to choose that they engage even more with your emails. So why not just allow this to happen?
Well, see, I love this idea because I just recently switched to two emails a week for the same reason you did. I was having problems sharing all the upcoming events I was going to be at, whether I was speaking or my own events I was hosting or these weekly lives and this kind of stuff. And so I was having problems doing all that in one newsletter because all the weekly events, because I'm showing up 3 or 4 places each week. Plus I wanted to share an actual some good stuff in a newsletter, and so it was getting hard. So I was like, I split it. I haven't I'm looking to work on setting up the option to do what you're talking about here, to ask them, hey, do you want both of them or not? I did warn them, of course, it was coming. But and that has been my form of consent before, was saying, hey, this is what's up, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking about it, which I know is still good, but I love this idea. And I'm working now to see if I can also give them the same consent. I'm not so sure MailerLite has quite the actual active options as Active Campaign, so I might have to switch email providers, but we'll see. We will
I mean,
see.
I think you can go around it through automations and forms, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm checking into it, and I may end up having to get your brains in a little bit later this year to actually set it all up for me anyway. So we will see how that goes. But I do love this option, and you were really, I mean, and that's what I find it's very fresh and new with that, is the idea that you're allowing people to do that and you're asking them, and as a result, and I'm real big into the ethics side of things and permission based marketing and stuff. So this, it just resonates deep with my soul on this, that you're doing that and it's being done with email. And I want to be able to give it to my people as well. So this is a good reason for you coming here. And of course, hopefully we've answered LinkedIn user. We don't see your name, so if you'll let us know. But they had asked, can you review the different ways we acquire consent? Hopefully we've covered that and answered your question. If you'll let us know who you are, we'll call you by name. If not, you can remain anonymous as LinkedIn user because we don't get to see your name unless you give us permission here. And guys, seriously, what do you think about this? Do you love the idea of pick your own adventure and consent more in email marketing? What do you think about that? Let us know in the comments. Join the conversation here with us on this. We love hearing from you as well. And then that also leads me to, of course, when you're doing this, which was something I've been using segmenting a little bit over the years, but not to the extent, because obviously with this, you're truly segmenting an audience, which is also making them, in the sense, more valuable, because you know which ones you can try to sell what and everything else to. And which also brings us to the idea of mindset on selling even in email. So talk to me a little bit about that, because I know you've got kind of a pretty fresh approach on that.
Hmm. I will just say upfront, nothing that I'm saying is new, to be honest. Uh, consent based marketing has existed for decades. What I'm doing is not new. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just a challenger. I see best practice, and I'm questioning best practice for who exactly? For whoever invented this, maybe like 50 years ago. Um, so, what was the question again? Sorry.
I realize nothing is absolutely brand new, but you can get a fresh voice, a fresh idea. And I really feel like that's kind of what you're bringing to it, because I've been doing social media marketing for a while. So obviously I see a lot of tips, a lot of things from a lot of different, because I work with service providers. And when it comes to email marketing, a lot of what you just said is right. Who is it best for? And generally the stuff I see is best for the email list owner. So I really feel like you're advocating not only to build a strong list that benefits you, but you're advocating for your people on your list to give them the best possible, which I find that fresh, because it isn't something that everyone's talking about. Instead, we're talking about more how do we get more leads on our list and what do we do to get as many people possible there and keep them there, you know? Instead, you're talking about bringing it, getting them there. Yes, of course we want to grow the list, but you're also talking about Corey even here says, I appreciate this a lot and I see it rarely used. It's not just me, is it, Corey? We don't see this point of view a lot. So you might not think it's too new, and it isn't, but you're bringing that voice out and it's not being spoken as much. So take it. You're
I
doing it.
will. Okay.
Yeah, as Corey said, it makes me feel like I have more control over what's coming in my inbox. And I agree. And the more I see it and stuff too, because you know me when content and stuff, I'm always don't be in DMs without permission. Get asked this, that. And I feel the same about email. And so I really appreciate that you are doing that and helping bring more awareness to the idea we can do this. We have
Yeah.
the capability, the tools are there. We might not know exactly how to do them, or we get tips from you, or we hire you, or something else to make it happen. But I love the idea that you are giving us that control, and then we don't hate our inbox so much.
I mean, I love hanging out in my inbox. I know that I'm weird like that.
I
You
do
would
too, and I enjoy it. But think about what you get. Like, okay, right before I got on the show, I went to my inbox and I literally had four cold pitches from people, and they made me have to send them an email, reply back with unsubscribe to get rid of them. I never asked them to be there to begin with, and this kind of stuff. So I appreciate someone who invites me to be on the list and then gives me options.
No, I mean, the thing is, right, you said something beforehand about me advocating for the users. I am putting myself in, may I say it, impossible situations where I'm positioning myself between my clients' audiences and my clients' wishes and goals and aspirations. Both are equally important. My
Win-win.
job is to make sure that I'm communicating the needs and the wants and desires and activities and behavior of both sides to one another as transparently as possible, with as much consent as possible. And as far as I've seen from my experience, there's no one way and there's no one only way to do anything, especially
No.
marketing. But it is, in my biased opinion, the best way to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I always say, there's a million and one ways to market. All of them work. It's about picking what works for you. But I mean, I'm with you. You know, I like I said, you know, I truly believe in permission-based marketing. So this feels really good. And I also like the idea that, you know, as you said, because of having that choice, people are actually more excited. They're more excited up to get them all, and or they know they can snooze it for a minute, which I really appreciate when that option happened on social media, when I can, like on Facebook, when I can snooze somebody for 30 days. Maybe they're
Yeah.
in one of those rant moments about a certain topic and I've just heard enough of it and I just like, I want to stay connected, but I can hit snooze. And it's kind of I love that same idea for email, you know, because sometimes I'm busy.
It's important because it's a second, third, fifth, 10th buy-in. That's first, from a subscriber that opted in. But it's also, where was I going with this? Just the thought just like exited my brain through my left ear in just a second. That's how brains work. But it's a second, third, 10th buy-in. But then it's also, when you see this, and when no, just completely gone.
That's okay. Let's move on. Here's a fun one because I know we've got multiple ways to get people on an email list. And of course, I've even just recently seen you in my comments challenging this too on lead magnets on a post talking about a lead magnet. Of course, that particular post was promoting lead magnets, but newsletters, lead magnets, free events, what ways, I mean, all these are ways. What ways are you recommending or finding the most useful for moving people from social media to your email list right now?
Right now, it's I think it's an important conversation to have because I personally, and I have been accused before of being too ethical. I don't think I'm ethical enough. I do not think that lead magnets are the way to go necessarily. Depends on the brand, depends on the audience, obviously. But I personally, if I'm just talking about my brand and my list, I don't want to have people buying into the list, and buying into the list by that I mean subscribing to the list just because they want a free resource from me. If that's the kind of exchange we're having, if that's the kind of relationship we're starting from the get go, I'm not sure that I want to have this conversation with you. If you need something from me to be convinced of how much value I can bring into your inbox, maybe we're not the best fit for one another. And I'm not dissing anyone who does use lead magnets, because they are working for certain brands and they are important for certain brands. Um, I am just talking about the value inside my newsletter, what people are going to hear from me, what kind of value they're going to get, whether it's entertainment, whether it's tips and tricks and or op-ed style emails or resources that I'm sharing. The value is not in the lead magnet nowadays. The value is about, being inside your email list and being a part of your world. And I think, the more we will step away from this give and take, from this gated information, the more open and honest and raw conversation we can have with one another, which is what email lists are all about, honestly.
Hmm. Uh, that is an interesting perspective on that, and I can't disagree with you on it with some things. I mean, personally, I do find lead magnets effective, and I don't think of them as something to. Yeah, for me, I believe in win-win. I want
Hmm.
to reward my people, and I want to give, but of course, I obviously want to receive as well. That's the whole goal of all of this, is to give and to receive.
Hmm.
Um, I guess I don't think of it as a bribe. I truly, for me, it's about giving them a small win and saying, hey, because this is somebody who doesn't know me yet. And hey, here's an introduction to me. Cool. You get on my list in exchange for that. And it goes back. And I think
So let
this
me
was,
challenge this. Let me challenge this. Could you offer this lead magnet without, l- forcing someone to subscribe to your list? Because there are technological ways to make it happen. And this is something that, by the way, Corey knows, because we're friends on Threads. Um, I am in the process of maybe developing a new resource. I am going to put it on my website, ungated. However, I am going to put a link to sign up for my newsletter, or just basically put a box like, if you want to get those lessons directly to your inbox, you can leave your details here, then check this box if you want to also be on my newsletter. Because, by the way, if people are signing up just for the lead magnet and not for the long haul, they will unsubscribe and will go cold very, very fast. So, in my opinion, this ethical bribe, so to speak, is not necessarily a win win. If, and I'm not saying that these are all of the
yeah,
subscribers,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but if people are only downloading your freebie to get the freebie and then unsubscribe either immediately or a few weeks later or a
Pretty
few
true.
months later, and they don't develop any relationship with you as the sender, what are we doing here? This is not a win win.
Yeah. No, and you do bring up a good point from that. And I can counter a little bit with that because I I come from the start of all this time frame whenever newsletters used to be why people signed up, and then people got really jaded because their inbox was flooded with a bunch of newsletters that didn't have value and things like that. And that's when the lead magnet came into play, was to counterbalance, because people are less likely to realize how much value can be in a newsletter because they've discounted that. In the same way, in a lot of ways, they're discounting lead magnets today, even. I mean, we're moving into that aspect now, too, that both, even though we know that a lot of people have very valuable ones, yours are, mine are. I mean, I get several in my inbox that I just every week I'm for sure reading them. They're loaded with value. And same thing even with the lead magnet I downloaded was loaded with value. But that's a different mindset. I am signing up. If I do sign up for a lead magnet, I'm signing up because I do want it from that person. It's not necessarily because I just wanted the lead magnet. I already know that's to put me on their email list for me, and I'm signing up because I want to be on their email list, not necessarily for the lead magnet. So I do have a different mindset and thought process on that. And I put out so much free content that is completely ungated. I got blogs, I got YouTube posts, I do lives, I do these weekly. I have so much ungated content. I'm kind of okay with my lead magnet being gated for them to do that. And but I also see your point with that too. And I do. And it also might be for me in a sense, I'm thinking this through as we're talking. It might also be a thing too, is where I'm just now finally getting comfortable feeling like my newsletter is maybe that really valuable resource that I've been wanting it to be too, because I've been growing into it. I'm new to this. Guys, I'm new to lead magnet, or not lead magnets, email list. Yes, I've been on the internet since it started, but yes, I'm not trying to age myself here, but
That's okay. Internally, I'm 72, so you're allowed.
yeah. Uh, but I've watched the whole progress of it all and all that kind of stuff. So where was I going with this? Now I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, we're having too much
I've seen
fun.
all the iterations of marketing come and go from, when we started actually marketing online and this kind of stuff. And I've seen like the icky tactics and then how we progress and how but it keeps getting better. And that's what I
Hmm.
like. That's what I like, because email marketing, marketing in general, social media marketing has changed so much from pounding the pain points and just driving that stuff home and whatever it takes. And I mean, I remember you used to, oh, I've got a newsletter, and you immediately got a couple thousand signups, which is like, oh, that's where I was going. It's like, because I didn't adopt email marketing back in those days. I waited till about 18 months ago to actually do mine. So now it's much harder.
Hmm. And it is. Let's just say that it is not
Yeah.
necessarily easy to grow an email list unless you're using some kind of well-oiled, sometimes AI generated, sometimes with other things that let's not actually remind them.
Yeah, let's not go there.
So unless you're paying to get leads, or to get subscribers through ads. I'm not talking about buying subscribers. No,
You
no,
just
no,
up
no,
it
no,
through
no.
ads. Okay, gotcha.
I'm talking about ads, and I'm talking about sometimes it could be some kind of partnerships, or what's the name of this? Just completely forgot the sponsorships. There we
Mhm.
go.
Yeah,
Sponsorships, or money is involved.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
everyone. If you're growing a list organically, it is going to be harder
Amen.
than 3, 4, 10 years ago.
Mhm.
It's a long-term strategy. I believe it's one of the core pillars of what every business should have.
Amen.
Um, because LinkedIn is not reliable, Instagram is not reliable, Threads is not reliable, Facebook is not reliable, X is definitely not reliable anymore. Um, and we need to own our audience. This is exactly what you wrote in the post promoting this. This is our way. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, even though they're not entirely fully 100% ours, websites and email lists are the closest thing we can have to owning our audiences, not owning them, but having them within our almost full control. um and I don't think you can really put you can't really put a price tag on this, because it's just so invaluable.
Priceless. It's literally priceless. Yeah, and I fully agree with you. It is and then, like you said, I mean, we fully own it? No, and it's just like I have to remind people because um, a while back when Facebook and LinkedIn went down the same day, of course, everybody got reminded that we don't own our stuff. And I was putting that out. And then I was reminding people that same day I was putting posts up. I was like, okay, when's the last time you backed up your email list from off your email server? Because if not, and it goes down because that same day that Facebook and LinkedIn went down, Active Campaign went down.
Did it?
It did.
Huh.
And I don't know if it was all countries, but I know it went down in the US because several people tried to email their list and couldn't. And the last time Facebook went down, it went down the same day too. So I suspect they share some of the same servers.
Well, or
But
just active
regardless,
campaign is being active campaign. Let's not get into this
yeah,
because
let's
that's
not
a
get
whole
into
different
that. But anyway,
conversation.
the point of all this is you don't own it. You don't own your list if you do not download your list and back up a copy somewhere else either. So
So I have a useful tip for that, and it's the email version of a drinking game. Whenever a platform is going down for however many hours, regardless of whether or not you're using it or on it, back up your email list.
ooh, I like that tip. So, anyone else here, are you backing up your email list? Because it is so freaking important for you to actually own it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not, and it goes down, or once again, it's borrowed platform. Maybe they decide to shut down, they lose your account, or they decide they don't want you on there no more because you did something they aren't too happy with. Once again, you lose your list. Are you backing up your list? Let us know in the comments. Are you guys doing that? And then, oh man, we are running over on time as well. We could keep going on this. You've got a few more minutes. Obviously, we want to give you a chance we're dropping Yuval's newsletter. Sign up for that. For just subscribe. I recommend you do. She's one of the people I read every email that comes in my inbox. But tell them a little bit more about what they can expect. I know we've talked about it, but let's sell
Sure.
it.
You can learn more about what I do and how I do things. That's mostly in the Friday emails where I get meta and send emails about emails. And then in the beginning of the week or week, I'm sending actually stories about my adventures around the world. I'm a digital nomad now for 14 months and counting. So, the kinds of odd things that I'm encountering, foods. I am definitely bringing in back again the whole pasta stories or pasta diaries in my emails soon
Yay!
enough. Yay! So food talk as well, of course, and also things about where I'm about, what I'm about, whereabouts I am, what I'm experiencing, the odd things that I'm learning about different cultures. And yeah, running a business and growing a business all throughout. So yeah, I actually think my emails are quite the shit, if you don't mind me saying. So
I
if
fully
you're not
agree.
on if you're not
I,
on my list, you are
yeah,
missing out.
I agree. Get on her list. Make sure you get on mine as well because I'm following her tips, and actually, mine's getting pretty cool too. But I will say, Yuval puts out a really amazing newsletter, and I'm going to be dropping the link right after. They don't allow us to do this on these lives, unfortunately, but I'll drop the link for you guys to subscribe to that after this, and do give it a try. I'm a subscribed to all of them, but if you want, just get the Friday one. It is amazing. I like all of them. I recommend all of them. But hey, whatever. And then make sure you catch us next week. Elaine Trusso is going to be here to talk to us about the benefits of summits, whether you're hosting one or guest at one. I will tell you, I added 171 warm leads to my email list in January from doing summits. Elaine's was one of those. And that's why I invited her on the show, because she's brilliant at summits. One of the best summit hosts I've been. Nothing against all my other summit hosts I've been part of, but Elaine was amazing, amazing, amazing. So she's coming on the show. And then, of course, we have my upcoming networking masterclass is happening April 24th. So dropping links to all that stuff. But get onto Yuval's newsletter list. Highly recommend it. I agree with her. have an email list. I know I was a late adopter, but now it is absolutely one of the pillars of my marketing as well. And you've all leave us with a final thought.
Final thought. Does it have to be marketing related?
Nope.
So my final thought is probably don't have like a full bottle of sparkling water before hopping on a talk like this, because this could have been very messy.
Guys, you got to get tips for everything everywhere.
And
Thank you.
everything is a sandwich.
Well, thank you so much. And all our amazing people commenting here and dropping in. We had Blair and Corey, Eleni, and who else? We had Aneely. Aneely? I'm probably murdering your name, and I'm so sorry if I am. I am trying to, but thank you so much. We're grateful for all of you. For those of you who couldn't join us live, if you've got questions, hashtag replay, drop the questions in the comments, tag me and Yuval. We'll stop back by and answer them, and get on her newsletter list. Getting ready to drop the list right after the show here. And thank you so much, everyone. We're grateful for you. Thank you so much for joining me, Yuval, and sharing with us. Appreciate you.
Thank you.